this world, you're going to say, I'm wrong. Can't nobody tell me what to do. But it just told us we got to have that childlike qualities. That means you're going to have to be like a child. Now, humble thyself. What does humble mean? Oh, Christ came to be low. But what we are, we got our chest stuck out and our head way up and out. He said the word pride. That's what can take us. What is it? A little taste of money. Now, since he said a little taste of money, what does go with money? A little education. When you got all that there, what do you have? Pride. And what's going to happen to pride? You're going to be looking while I'm standing up. We stand there looking. Your pride can keep you from walking up in the gate. They're going to okay. They probably go to that 13th floor. You know, we mentioned that before. They're going to go to that 13th floor. They have what? Pride. You can't tell me nothing. I'm the best looking somebody pride. And this is what I like. This really got me. I am the greatest. I see some ears shaking right there. I am the greatest. This lesson right here, gonna tell about it. Somebody say, I am the greatest. You know, as I begin to look at this lesson and think about what it says, then I'm gonna come back to it about I am the greatest. You know, we have some people say that I am the greatest. But what's gonna happen today? Your greatest will get you in trouble. Your greatest means nothing when we get to here. Now, as we get into this lesson, we see the first thing we talk about. We get into old Matthew. The writer says, humility, the need. So that means I got to do what? Honor myself. That's a need. It's not something that come about. You have to do this in. He tells us right now, my need is to honor myself. When I honor myself, then I got to get back just like a child. When I got this grown mind of mine, I'm not going to get to him. You may go somewhere, but it won't be to heaven. And God just tell us to what? Honor. Then you got to have humility there. When you look at that word. And the first time we begin with, if you look what it says here. Now, before we get into this first verse, that was the problem. And did you know what the problem was? Why did Jesus speak like this here? He was getting ready, paying them all the time. But that was the problem among his disciples. Now, when I read it, it says that they asked Jesus, well, the man asked Peter, so Peter, I'm not sure what I'm talking about. Your master, don't you have to pay taxes? Peter, everybody else is paying taxes. What about the master? Does your master pay taxes? And what did Jesus tell him? Go down to the river. The first fish you catch, open his mouth, and what would you have? A coin. Take that coin and bring it back and pay the what? Pay the taxes. So here we go. That's the first thing. Thank question, Jesus. Paying taxes. What that son? Go catch the fish, look in his mouth, and pay the taxes. So Jesus didn't go around. He paid his taxes. Look at that. Jesus paid his taxes. Now, here we go. That was the problem right there. So as we get into this verse here, Jesus was saying he heard them mumbling. He heard them grumbling about something. Muslim black women. What were they mumbling and grumbling about? Who is the greatest among us? Which one? Because he's getting ready to leave. Now I want to know who the greatest. Who's going to be in charge? So Jesus, he can answer that. You want to know who's going to be the greatest? I'm going to tell you who's going to be the greatest. All right, really? What's that person tell?
At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?
He is about to leave. Now, Jesus, you're about to leave, so who you going to leave in charge? The greatest. When I began to look at that word, the greatest, and what they was asking Jesus, you know, I heard Muhammad Ali said, what? The greatest. I am the greatest of all time. And then I said, okay. Then I thought about basketball. We'll change it. He scored 100 points. Does that make him the greatest? And you know the catch about that? He scored 100 points and he still lost. So, do that make him the greatest? And then I'm getting put around talking about Tom Brady. So he got 6 Super Bowl rings. And what they said, he's the GOAT. Greatest athlete of all time. What they said, he's the greatest. Look at all these people claim to be great, but I think they're missing the point right now. This lesson gonna tell us about great. And as I began to think about great, when you are great, you do something that nobody else do. Okay? Go back to Ali. Ali said he was great. But what did Smokey Joe do to him? Knocked him out. Knocked him out. So, okay, great. If you wasn't great, you ought to still be up there. If you said Will Chamberlain, he's going to 100 points. But look at Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe, the number of points they scored. So can you say Bill Russell? Can you say he's the greatest? The greatest means you can do something nobody else do. Look at that. So then we begin to get in this lesson here, and he asked that question right there, when they want to know who is the greatest, and I told you in the beginning that I'm the greatest. Somebody said, no, you're not. Well, to my wife, I might be the greatest husband. A great husband. You think so? To my children, I might be the greatest dad. I don't think you said no, so I guess I'm not the greatest. But to my children, they said I'm the greatest dad. But when you talk about great, what are you comparing it to? If she said I'm the greatest husband, somebody else will say, well, my husband is greater than your husband. So how are you comparing it? You can't. If my children said, Dad, you're the greatest dad, and they do say you're the greatest dad, what are they comparing me to? Pam? To the father? I hear something. Another dad? But how can you compare me to other dad and you don't know anything about this dad? So when you compare the greatest, you're looking at something that nobody else can do. And this lesson gonna tell us there's something that nobody else can do. It tried, but it all failed. Nobody can do it when you're talking about the greatest. So can I be the greatest? No. I thought I'd throw that out there when I said I'll be the greatest. And so my wife, we're gonna have problems I call them. All right. Now when you look at that, what it says, in that next verse, really put that next verse.
And Jesus called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them.
Now this is the problem right there. They want Jesus to tell one of them. But what did he do? He looked over and said, he told his little child, come here. Now, what are you thinking like that? Why would you call a child Jesus? Here we are, all the 12 of your disciples sitting around. Peter, James, and John been with him all the time. So what do you think people think about? He going for it? Me. What John said? No. Me. What James said? Well, I was half brother. Me. But what did Jesus say? Come here, little child. And you know, when you ask to come here, little child, can you imagine what's going through their mind? Why would you want to call a child?
No.
Huh?
Maybe he thought he was going to do that child over there.
They didn't.
And maybe they did.
They did. I don't think they did. I think they were wondering why would he call that child? All 12 of us grown folks here, then you gonna call this child. Like in here?
I'm not in here. The children think they don't hear everything. They ain't on the grandchild, you know?
Like in here. Children think they can get here, come the grandchild get. So what that is? Something unexpected. And that's what this lesson about, unexpected qualities there. So when he told a child about that, they stand looking at all these grown folks standing. Why would you choose this child? And that next verse, really, what it tells us about that?
And said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Wait a minute, Jesus. You mean to tell me I've been with you all this time? Now I got to convert myself back to a child? Is that some of the thinking process? I've been with you. Now I got to go back to my childlike qualities. He said that word, except you be converted and become like a little child, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus, what are you saying? If I convert myself to be like a little child, that means I can't lie to them? That means I can't go around and talk about you? That means I can't have one over here and one over there? Can't do that. That means I can't do no backstabbing? Somebody gonna talk about you. Gotta be true. What he said, convert yourself. And that means I got to do what? Convert and make a change. The things that I was doing, I can no longer do that if I want to get away. Yeah. Now, if you want to stay down here and do what they're doing, don't do it. But he said, you guys convert yourself and be like a little child. Alma is the word. And we said a little child doesn't care who he plays with. What mess up a child? Adults. We mess up a child. If you let a child be a child gonna be a child. But what do? We want children to be grown too fast. You know what gets me? A little child, they have all the baby mamas, the little package, the little dresses they wear. And what are you doing? You got these men out there, pedophile, but you want to know what happened? What happened? You took that child and put that child in the wrong place. So what it said, you need to let that child remain what? A child. In order for us to get to heaven, we got to have a childlike mind, which means we got to do what? One key. A child will love him. What we got to do, we got to show that same love. But what we do, we pick our love. Who am I going to love today? Well, I think I love Rose today. Well, who am I going to love next week? Well, I think I love Radika next week. And not a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, I think I really love Miss Tracy. But soon I go out there, go, what happened to my love? Gone. If you get a child, what that child will do? That child wants to love. What we got to have? Continue love. So in order to do that, what we got to do? All right. Convert yourself. Make a U-turn. A whole 390-degree U-turn. Change from where you were if you want to make that conversion. But we don't want to do that because what? I am grown. But if you grown, what this tells me that you will not get into the kingdom of heaven. You can be grown, but you can stay down here and stay in hell. If you want to go to heaven, you got to leave that grown mindset. And then, reader, what the message tells us?
Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven.
So if you humble yourself as a little child, who's waiting on you? God. Where? In the kingdom of heaven. But the key word is what? Humble yourself as a little child. I used to see little children playing all the time, and you never see that long. What I like about little children, they may hit each other this minute, and the next minute, what are they doing? They're playing together. What I like about little children, if one got candy, he'll lick off, what the next child do? Get up and lick. What is that? We got to have that same kind of spirit that children have. We need that same stuff that they have, but what do? Selfish. We won't even look at a person. If you see somebody today, you turn your back. A child doesn't have that. You got to have a childlike quality in order to get to heaven. But my word is that I am wrong. You can't tell me what to do. Well, you may not, but God can. Now, if you want to get to heaven, who you got to go through? God. There's no other way. In order to get there, what he tells us, honor ourselves and be just like a little child. I like that. Be like a little child. And really, what the message is?
And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, receiving me.
Now, if I accept that child, what is that mean? I am accepting God. I have to accept that child. So he's telling me if I honor myself and be like a child, who's going to accept me? God going to accept me. But if I walk in and say I'm grown, who's going to accept you? Satan. Satan's going to accept you. He don't mind who you take. But God said you got to do what? Honor yourself in order to come with me, because I am the what? I am the Father. You only have how many fathers? One Father. So if you got one Father, that means you got to honor yourself to be like that Father tells you to do. So if you grow, I mean you got 2 or 3 fathers, I guess. You got 2. You got Satan, so that's your father. A lot of fathers, they say. But we're going to stick to that one Father we know. As a Christian, who are we talking about? We are talking about the saints. You know, those other people out there, they probably have 2 or 3. But if you want to get to heaven and you are a saint, you got to do what His word says. In His word says we got to do what? Honor ourselves as a little child. Now I like that. When I began to read and thought about that, that was something good to honor ourselves. Come down off your high horses. Keep your chest stuck in, and remember, you wouldn't have nothing if it wasn't for who? God. So you didn't do nothing for yourself. You didn't even wake yourself up this morning. You didn't even put yourself to bed last night. You didn't even cook your breakfast this morning. If it wasn't for who? God. You couldn't even came out here this morning. If it wasn't for who? God. So what is it? You still grown? Well, you're not grown. Humble yourself as a little child. And then there's a question that follows this. Anybody else have something to say? Come on, Miss Tracy. Share. See what the child done. What he done was wrong, but what did he do? That's the childhood. What does it tell us to do? Be like a child and have those childlike qualities. If we don't do nothing like that, we know it's wrong and we're not going to share it. But a child will share it. A child going to show you love. When you show them love, that's what it's all about. Love. God wants us to love just like he said right here. But we have to do that. We want to be grown. That's where it's grown. You know, when I turn 18, I am what? I'm grown. Mama can't tell me what to do. Daddy can't tell me what to do. Because now I am grown. But the problem I have about being grown, if you're grown, why are you staying in my house? So if you're grown, you need to have your own place. So when you tell me, Dad, I'm grown, well, I want to know where you live at. Since you're so grown. If you're that grown, you need to go to your house, and I'm not going to come to your house because I know I'm not well. So in order to be grown, there are some things that go with being grown. But here, we are not talking about so much being grown. We are talking about what? Honor yourself as a child, being a childlike quality. And then we got a question that follows it. The question says, what attitude changes and behaviors are needed to promote humility as the legal path to greatness in God's sight? What attitude and change? You know, that's one of our biggest problems, our attitude. When you change your attitude, things will change. I think they said, your attitude determines your altitude. What am I saying? Your attitude tell you how you do in life. If you see somebody with a nasty attitude, why do you think they're going? Quit down. Your attitude determines your altitude. How high you go. I've seen some great people, probably some smart people who but what do they have? A nasty attitude. So when you change your attitude, that's when everything begins to change. Now, if I'm a Christ believer, what's the first thing I got to change? My attitude, because that's going to be my behavior, the way I work. I got to change it. And what's that? It says your attitude. Now, as a Christian, we're not talking about the people out there. Everything we're talking about is the same people. How do you change your attitude in order to promote humility? How did I be humble? The only way I can be humble is with what? Change, my friend. How do you change that attitude? Read your Bible, say in the book. In the book. But the problem about the book, some people don't read the book because the book gets so much dust. It's sitting on the shelf. When do I get my book? Maybe on the Wednesday, Brother Tyler teacher. Maybe on Sunday. Maybe one day through the week, I may pick up my book. There's so many maybes there. So if I don't know anything about the word, what's going to happen? You don't know the word, and you're going to stay right where you are, and your attitude going to determine your altitude, which means you're always going to go which way? Down. And that down don't mean that you're praying. That down means life will bring you down because you're not have your perspective in the right place. What is the right place? God. When you put your perspective in the right place, that's going to determine how high you can go in life. Some people's attitude is so nasty, you won't see them coming. And be a saint. Have you know people like this? Attitude so nasty.
Yeah.
But in order to get that, they got to do what? Change. But our job is to pray and move on. Because let him face it. If you don't know, you're going to find out what's happening. How you going to know? You don't study the book. It's all in the book. Everything you need to know is where? In the word. It could be in the word, but you don't study the word. It was told me back in the day, if you want to hide something from I can say this because I'm upset. If you want to hide something from a black person, where do you put it in? In the book. Somebody know what you're talking about, old school. Put it in the book. If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in the book. Why is that? They not going to open the book. Yes. Where's that disciple? They're not going to look at it. Put it in the book. And I'm going to tell you something that will move on. My mother-in-law, she did that. She put some money in the book. And she passed. We had folks going to the house looking all everywhere, trying to find the money. Where was the money at? It wasn't the wife either. Nah. It was in the what? In the book. She had some money in her Bible. Last thing they're going to look at. You're not going to pick up the Bible. They're going to find it right in the Bible. They went everywhere, tearing up clothes, throwing everything down, trying to find it, and right in front of them. Right on the shelf. They didn't pick up the book. They know it wasn't in the Bible. And they just right there. So if you want to hide something, they always told us about a black person, put it in the book. They don't read the book. Now, let's move on to the next one. Anybody else got something to say? Well, the next one, it says, humility, the cost. To be humble, there's a cost. What is the cost to be humble? Nothing, he says. What's the cost to be humble? I got a nothing. What is the cost to be humble? Sacrifice yourself. To be humble, you got to give up self, everything. I can't humble myself with pride. I can't humble myself with jealousy. I can't humble myself lying on you. I can't humble myself backstabbing you. I can't humble myself talking about you. I can't humble myself doing those things. In order for me to humble myself, I got to do what? Give up those things. What I told you, you got to be what? Converted. So if I'm converted, what am I going to give up? I'm giving up that old sinful life that I've done. That's what you got to do. And humble yourself. When you said it's a cost. It's a cost. They say it's a cost to be the boss. So here's the cost right here. Humility. That's the cost. Now, to get this here, read what did the verse tell us?
But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea.
Now, when you read that, did anything jump out to you on that part right there? Who shall offend one of these little ones? What jumped out to you? And I'm going to tell you what jumped out to me when I read that. About offending one of the little ones. If you misuse the little one, what's going to happen? Look at the penalty come behind that. You know, what got me when I read about that podcast, it says, if you offend one of my little ones, let me see, if I offend my little one, and I believe the Bible tells us, Proverbs tells us, it says, train up a what? Train up a child the way to go, and he do what? And when he get old, train up a child. I have a 3-year-old, I'm drinking. I got the child with me, I'm smoking. I'm cursing. What did I just say? Train up a child. How am I training that child? I'm training them to do bad. I got this child here. When you train that child up and do what that child do, I'm going to see my woman, and I got my child with me. He's going to see his woman. What happened? What does they watching it? What did you say? Training your child up. This is where we got it. Don't do what I do, but do what I what. Isn't that what they say? Don't do what I do, but do what I say.
It says like little children, you talk about children being innocent and how they love it. Their talk is not like people, because I could see somebody say, "Yeah, I don't like her," right in front of the child. That makes the child not like the person for no reason. because you're the one that's training them, and they say if that adult don't like them, I don't have to like me. So you have to teach children the right way in order so this would be being childlike, and we just like them. They don't know anything.
Don't know.
They don't know.
So
They watch you and they listen.
watch and listen. And then it says what? Train them up.
Yeah.
When they get grown, they made a problem, they're gonna go what? Come back. How can I train my child up? And they sit in my wife every night we fight. Because he gonna do that. But I like this part right here. If you do that and train that child up that way, what it says right here, this is gonna be up. That next verse gonna tell us what's gonna happen. It's worse than putting a millstone around your neck. Because who is leading that child wrong? You are. Think about it. You leading that child wrong. And when that child get up, who is he gonna lead wrong? His child wrong. Why? Because that's what he saw. That's where he brought him up. It said, train that child up. If you offend one of these little ones, that's how you offend the child. I'm out here doing everything. I'm smoking, then I'm gonna pass out. I'm smoking a joint, I'm gonna pass my son the joint. I'm drinking, I'm gonna pass the bottle. A child. A little child in college, you going to place you never been. A little child here, you come out there. That's so-and-so put in front of me. Who did it? The child. You know how we do? Get mad so fast, you got a little child. Do you know? Children be playing, and you think they're not listening to what you're saying. Have you ever noticed how child so upset?
Yeah.
They repeat everything you said. You said, you don't even think they know. What did that child do? He listened to what you were saying, and you doing everything. And the Bible just tells us what we do. If you offend that little one, so you just offend that child because you just poison his mind with the wrong kind of stuff. And then when you poison the child's mind with the wrong kind of stuff, you're gonna get it. So what did that tell me? Said when the mother carried a child, that child can hear what's going on. You know, it took us a long time to get to that point. I remember back in the day, we didn't start teaching our children until they got to school. What was wrong with that? That child was already so far behind. Not that he was dumb, but what? He was behind. We realized that no, you start teaching that child, that child began to develop. What is that? That mind is observing something. So that means you need to start then. You don't wait. So what we're saying, you start teaching that child right from wrong. You don't let them get up here and try to teach them right from wrong. You start down here teaching that child right. It's all right. He just cursed. Ain't it funny? Have you heard people do that? The child cursing down all they say. You don't need that. He heard from somebody. You listen to all this so loud music. I see people got these little children in the car. The music so loud, 2 cars over you can hear. And you got this little child listening to somebody calling on women, all kind of things. But yet, when that child get up, you get in trouble. You want to know what happened. Go back to what you done.
That's right.
You didn't do what you supposed to be doing as a parent.
Right.
You got to do what? When you train them up, Miss Tracy, you train them in the right way. Lack of training. Big.
But they can look at it. That's training up your woman. If you train good, they won't train good. And that's why I love them. Well, when they get up there in the morning, they won't put their thing. If the moon shine, they won't get up.
Why do they want that? You gave them a little. I ain't gonna hit that baby. Get that baby a little bit there. Take that baby. Okay, but it is big. Get the baby a little bit. Oh, let him hit that child. Let that child taste it. Let him taste it. What happened to the taste? You are a baby. You're a little child. You get the taste. So as you grow up, he said, you train them up. What you train them up to do? Smoke. You train them up to drink. Take the puff off the cigarette. A child. What are we doing? We're making children to be grown too fast. And we miss the point of what it says right here. And then when you do that, who's gonna be held responsible? Now this person, let's get it. All right, read it. Tell us about that.
Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh.
Offenses is coming. Now that woe is a warning. This is what's gonna happen. Offenses are here in the world. But what to tell us, we don't have to be a part of that offense. What we just said, I'm training this child the wrong way. That's a part of the offenses you do. Offenses here, as a saint, as a Christian, we don't have to accept the offenses that's going on in this world. But what do? We do. Why? Because that makes us feel, whoa. Do you know that's what it is? That makes some people feel like they're being loved. If I got to do that to love you, what's wrong with that? It's wrong. If I got to love you to do wrong, I don't need to do that. I need to love you because of what? Love is right. And love is what God wants us to do. Love ye one another. So if I got to love you to do wrong, I don't need you, you don't need me. Because there's something wrong with that kind of love. That's not the love that God wants. This is what this verse tells us right here. If you do that, the offenses out here, what offense out there? Man, that man ain't got him two or three women. He got one here, he got one there, he got one behind the house. What is it? That's a big dog. So what does the world say? But what did God say? That is wrong. But the world said, that's all right. That's all right when we have a wife and a couple women. That's all right. That's what the world said. But God said, it's not okay. And then the next verse comes, he said, woe unto you, those offenses. Offenses are here. Adulteries are here. Adulteries are here. Lying is here. Cheating is here. Backbiting is here. Why? That's part of the world. But us, do we have to accept what's going on in the world? What it said? We are in the world, but we don't of the world. But what happened? We are of this world too. Read it. Give me that next one. That's good here.
Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet be cast into everlasting fire.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me by doing wrong, there's a penalty? You mean to tell me if I do right and lose an eye, because it's right to lose an eye, I've done wrong, what God say? It's better. It's better to go in there with one eye, put a mask on that eye, cover that eye, and go into heaven, than to go in there with 2 eyes and not wrong. Now, what's the choice? Do right. The choice is to do right. Plug it out. Pluck that out. Because cut the arm off. I'd rather go in heaven with one arm and go into hell with both arms. That's what it says. It says it's better to do what? Right than do wrong. But what the word say? The word say we're going in with both hands, both eyes when we do wrong. But God say it is better for you to go in with one eye, and maybe I'll be better if you go in with one leg. If that's gonna be all right. It could be better if you go in blind. If that's gonna get me where? To heaven. If my eyes gonna cause me to sin, what it just said? Plug it out. If my hand gonna cause me to do wrong, what do? Cut it off. Which means if my hand gonna cause me to touch Sister Sue's leg, what I need to do? Cut it off. If my eye gonna cause me to wicked at somebody's wife, what I need to do? Plug it out. Because it's better to go with that one eye into heaven than go with 2 eyes into hell. Isn't that something? I'd rather to nip on into heaven and walk on into hell. How you like that? Nip into heaven. Sound good, huh? I'd rather crawl into heaven than walk into hell. How you like that? It's what's all about right here. Because it says what? It is what? Death. Because that's one of those things I say, woe unto you then. Look, now, really give me that next one. What is that?
And if thine eye offend thee, Pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye rather than having two eyes to be cast into
It just
hellfire.
says, listen, anything that will cause you to go to hell, what you need to do? Pluck it out and get rid of it. If I have to, my wife will cause me to go to hell, get the things that get rid of it. If your husband will cause you to go to hell, what you do? Get rid of it. If your children will cause you to go to hell, what you do? Get rid of it. In that kind of sense. Because it says anything that causes you to go to hell, get rid of it. It's best to go in there on two crutches than walking to hell. So I want to just walk in there. Dick said if you have to hop into heaven, that's good. Because if you're going to walk into hell, you don't need to hop into heaven. So look what you're talking about. He just told us that. It's best to do those things there. Now, if you want to do what God says, come on,
it's even deeper than the example that you're giving, because what you're saying is easy to do. It's easy for me to get rid of a person that's causing me a problem. But the scripture says it's something that within me is causing a problem. I need to get rid of that, even if it's a part of me. So it's deeper than just get rid of my husband if he gonna cause me to stumble. God said I gotta go deeper. If it's something that's within me that's causing me, then I need to get rid of that part of me.
So who can cause the problem?
Me.
Me. But I'm causing the problem. But if she causing the problem,
It's easy to get rid of her.
get rid of her. All right.
If she gonna call me to go to hell.
Don't cause me to go to hell.
It's hard for me to pluck out my own eye. It's hard for me to cut a limb off my body and pluck out my own eye, though. That's hard for me to do.
It's hard. So what that telling me to do? You got to do right. He's telling us, once you do right, everything will be fine. But he's telling you when you do wrong, this is the consequence. So what's the consequence of doing wrong? Pluck out that eye.
Yep.
What's the consequence of doing wrong? Cut off that arm. But if I am doing right, what I got to do? Continue to do what's right. I don't have to pluck, I don't have to cut, and I don't have to divorce, I don't have to do nothing like that. If that's the case, you got to look what he's saying now. If that's the case, you talk about me, you calling a little child to do wrong. Who's going to be responsible for that? You are. That's what this means, in a sense. You call that child to do wrong. This child is doing what you told him to do. This child see you doing what you're doing. So if you call that child to do wrong, it's best for you to put that millstone. It's best for you to cut off the arm. It's best for you to pluck out the eye. If you call somebody, it's just as simple, to do wrong, who's been held accountable? You are. That's what it's telling us. You are. Now, come.
The main thing about it, if you do like God said from the beginning, you don't have to work out. Look at all that. You might have to go back, get rid of wife, you might go to my husband, because you want to do right.
Let me just say, if you do right, but if you do wrong, that's the consequence here. So if you're doing right, I don't have to worry about the eye, the arm, the wife. If you're doing right. If she's doing right, we don't have to worry about that. But the problem is when you're doing wrong, that's the problem. The wrong part, not the right part. We always going to do what? Do what's right. But when you do wrong and cause somebody else, this is what you need to do. If you offend somebody else because of your doing wrong, what it says? If meat causes him not to go to heaven, what I supposed to do? Not eat meat. When I see Deacon, what I need to do with my meat? He don't want something. What I should do with my meat? I need to stop eating my meat. What it say? If you call somebody, well, it's more than just you. You have somebody else. So you call somebody else. The other people. Because what they're telling me, you need to live the life that you proclaim. If I'm proclaiming to be right, if I'm proclaiming to be righteous, what I'm supposed to do? Live righteous. And then, I like this. Thank you, Miss Time. Thank you. I like that when people kind of talk to us, sound good, and think about what's on your mind. Because this is all about telling us what we need to do. Now, since we do that, and I got something this morning, I think, he told us to be converted. So in order for me to be converted, I went and I found this right here. This is what we got. How you like that? So if I'm being converted, I need to be what? Because I will follow by love and follow Christ. That's what I thought this lesson our class this morning when it says convert yourself, and that's all I have to say this morning. Thank you.